does that even mean, Bowers Game Corner?
Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another game review, a special triple tag team review with my buddies Adam and Adam over here. Whoop! Bam!
I guess you can go over here.
And today, very excited, we're going to be checking out the brand spanking new Scythe Rise of Fenris expansion from Stonemaier Games. This is an expansion. This is a legacy-esque expansion for Stonemaier Games, which is going to go over the course of 8 games. It will allow you to use the original expansion, which has the 2 additional races, so you could potentially play this up to 8 players. Also, some of them are going to let you play airships, but it's not a complete legacy game because it also is 8 separate modules that you'll be able to play the game with and a cooperative mode. There's a whole bunch to talk about here. We're going to do this in a very different format. We're not going to be showing you anything in the box because it's all spoilers. Everything's spoilers, so we're just going to be talking about what we thought about the game. Spoilers will be at the end. There'll be a very clearly defined thing. It'll say right down here, spoilers. But for right now, we're just going to start off, and we're going to talk about the pros, we're going to talk about the cons, what we like, what we didn't like, and then we'll start talking about the spoilers. So let's start with the cons. Just start down with Adam over there. What did you not like about this expansion?
That's hard without spoilers. I would say that some of the games ended up being shorter than I would like. As I play Scythe, I would like a long game, and they could all have been long, but depending on certain choices we made, some of them tended to be pretty short.
Yeah, I think there were some that were definitely under 30 minutes. I think maybe two or three of them. But like you said, that was dictated by the choices that some of us made. I know I personally went out of my way to try to end one fast because I thought it would be to my best advantage. But yeah, I think that's an interesting point because Scythe is kind of it's a meaty game, you know? I mean, 90 minutes to 2 hours normally. But yeah, I think that might disappoint some people. So yeah, I think that's a good one.
Yeah. But at the same time, if you use the modules individually, that wouldn't be an issue. Because the stuff that you can add to the game, that it brings to the game, it's much more beneficial than just playing through the legacy, board. I guess that's a pro. It adds more stuff to the game.
And I do want to reiterate that we played the legacy game mode. We did not actually try the modules a la carte, but we did kind of.
I mean, they're weaved into there.
They are weaved into there.
Yeah.
But some of them are slightly different based on if you're just playing them a la carte. So I did want to mention that. Cons?
Cons? Let's see. That was my cons.
Dude, you're nice. What about you, Adam?
My con would be it's hard for somebody who's at the bottom to catch back up. Because that was me when we played, and it was pretty much all the point where there was nothing I could do to catch back up. Though I will add that was in part because we were playing something wrong, but...
We did. We made a pretty big mistake.
Yes.
But I will say, I 100% agree with that. I feel like the catch-up mechanisms in this game are not as strongly pronounced. And me and Adam actually played another Legacy game just last month, which had very strong, well-done catch-up mechanisms, and I just didn't feel like this game had them at all.
Speaking generally, though, I've thought about this, since we've ended the game, and I don't believe that you needed the catch-up mechanisms. And I can't really say more than that now, but later on we can talk about it.
I think I know what you mean.
And I disagree, because if you win, you get better. You get better if you win. And if you lose, you get better, but you don't get as much better as the person that won. And if the person already won because maybe they got a great strategy, like you had a rock-solid strategy. You did the same thing over and over again, which is another con I think we need to talk about.
So, yeah, my strategy, I was the Rustviets, and this isn't spoilers, this is how you just play the Rustviets. You go get people, get all of your people out, then go get a bunch of metal, and then build all your mechs. That was what I did every single time.
Yep.
And it worked.
But, so you had your strategy, and then... because you were winning and you were doing well consistently, you got better.
But mine was a slower strategy, so on some of those games that were fast, and maybe that's why I didn't like those fast games, that didn't help me. It was to my detriment.
And I do want to mention, I won 5 games, and you won 3 games, correct?
I thought it was evenly split.
No, it was 5-3.
Oh, okay.
Because I
You can
remember,
settle
we
that
can,
at
we
win
can
any.
check the sheets. Where are they?
and that's another con that I had with the game is that
You're right.
I was not the biggest fan of how the game did not reward you as much towards the end in winning. And it said it was not going to, but I expected, just a little bit. Just a teeny little bit. Like, give me a morsel. Give me a cookie because I did well the entire time. And it's like, we read it, and I was like, that's it? That's what I get for winning these games?
It's true, yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah, I'd say as far as other cons go, would be, I think that your faction abilities help a lot.
Yes.
Because mine was disadvantage in certain scenarios, being a Saxony.
Yeah.
Versus what you two had.
That's true.
Oh, yeah. Yours
Yeah.
was majorly
Yeah.
disadvantaged in some scenarios.
So I'll say that's kind of whoever's lucky enough to get certain factions, I think would be better off in the right out of the gate than other people.
Yeah, and I also think it would be dictated by the player count too. Like my special ability, which I love, is that you get to pick 2 on those event cards. So my whole strategy was, let's go get all the events. We're just running around, we're getting all these events we can get, and I'm doing 2 of everything, and it's kind of like a wild card. Maybe it'll help me a lot, maybe it'll help me a little, but I know I'm getting 2 good things. But we played 6, 7, or 8 players. Like that strategy, they're crap.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not that good. Like I'm gonna get 1, and then I'll be lucky if I can get 2 or 3. So yeah, I think some of them definitely are going to be better than others.
Yeah. At the beginning, you get to the middle of the game, and that's not an issue anymore.
I don't know, man.
I still think it helps.
Well,
I mean, I wouldn't say it hurts you or you're like a lot better off. I'd say you're at least a little better off.
some of my special ability swung at least 1 or 2 games. There's one game in particular.
Oh, yeah, especially the end.
Yeah, yeah. So I personally disagree with you. I think the catch-up mechanism.
But
needs
I
to be
think
something more
that
pronounced.
worked because with using the things in the game, you were able to customize your it wasn't just that it was your faction. It was that you had some customized strategies that were brought throughout the legacy.
And I was able to get those customized strategies because I was winning games and doing well.
That's true.
Whereas Kill, were you able
I
to
agree.
customize your strategy as much as you'd like?
No. I was like, I was going to try to do this. What, you guys are already...
And that's the other thing. Like this, I really want to hammer on this because that is... I mean, we're going to tell you we really liked it after this. I'm assuming all of us
Yeah,
are.
I enjoyed it.
But
Even
that
losing.
really bugged me because even winning the game, remember, you get that extra little bonus when it came to, picking stuff out at the end. It wasn't the loser that got the bonus, it was the winner that got the bonus
That
because
is
they got
true.
3
Yeah.
as opposed to 2. So it's like, it's helping them out even more.
But here's the thing: if it wasn't that way, then there'd be no benefit to winning on most of the games.
Well, I mean, that's what they should, maybe a benefit winning would be great. Okay.
Bonus points or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's really hard to talk about this if you could not tell without mentioning spoilers. So that's why we're being
Playing some mental limbo here.
Yeah.
Yes. So any other cons that we have at the game? Anything else? I'm trying to think. Anybody else got one off the top of their head? The story, I thought the story was really, really good to start with, and then I thought it kind of I think it teetered off towards the end a little bit.
Yeah.
Like it started off and I was in with the story, and then at the end I was like, okay.
I mean, you can kind of see the direction it was headed in at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say though, I appreciate the fact there's a story because I compare
Yeah.
this.
Oh, yeah.
I think this expansion reminds me a lot of the Tuscany expansion, which didn't have a story, but it's like, hey, we put in a story, and the story actually was good, which was great.
Yeah, that what was it like? It's the very first thing you do. You read the whole saga of Scythe, and it's 5 or 6 pages.
I don't know if it was that,
Yeah.
and it just felt like that.
Yeah.
It was really
It
good.
was a long thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really interesting.
Well, I guess another thing I liked was for his legacy, you don't destroy anything. Because
Oh, yes.
I know we've done Risk Legacy where your whole board's completely different and it's like a permanent fix to it. Whereas this, it's
Fully
not,
resettable.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything is. And he wanted me to mention that. He absolutely wanted to mention it. Don't call this a legacy game. So, not a legacy game. But I think that's what we got on the cons. I'm sure one will poke into our head later, but let's talk about the pros. What did you like about the game? Did you like the game?
I did like the game.
Yeah.
You go ahead, Kevin.
Oh, I was just agreeing
What's
with
your pros?
everybody. Oh,
You're just a yes man.
well, I guess my pro. I guess one of my pros was in the con section with nothing gets permanently altered with it.
Yep.
pros was that I enjoyed the, I don't know, I kind of like upgrade mechanics on games, so you kind of build with certain things, I guess, build up your own faction.
Yeah, and if we would have played it correctly, you would have got to experience
that would have been
Yeah.
very great. I think I would have won had we played it correctly. Just saying.
Whoa!
It would have been closer.
I think I would have lost a lot less. I
Oh,
might have won one game.
oh, by the way, the overall winner was Adam.
Yeah.
I don't think we mentioned that. I won 5 games, he won 3 games, and he still managed to win the overall game. But
Yeah.
Well, that's like, I guess by that standard, I won 0 games, but technically didn't lose by much at the end.
Yeah, it's true.
uh,
And
I,
that's what I was talking
Yeah.
about earlier.
I really like the
That-
fact
that's what I picked up on.
that I would totally play with some of these every single time. Some of the additions to the game, I would totally play all the time. Because here's the thing with expansions. Like, a lot of the time, like, if I'm playing, like, Pandemic or something that's more of a simple game, I won't play with some of the expansions when I'm teaching new people. But if I'm teaching you Scythe already, there's some of these that I'm absolutely going to throw in every single time.
Because what's already there is so varied. It doesn't matter if you throw in these.
And I know you said it, you would actually think that the second playthrough, knowing what we know now, would make the game better.
Oh, I definitely think so. Like, because we could hone our strategy. Like, you know what is going to happen. Like, I would love to play this again as the Legacy campaign and just see what happens.
I also want to mention, we haven't mentioned this yet, it does have a solo. So you can play this all completely solo. You can play the campaign solo, which is cool. 8 different modules and the cooperative module, which I feel like we can talk about. So I really like the cooperative module.
Yeah, that
as
was
well.
a lot of fun.
It was really great fun.
And I was talking to Adam about this. I feel like that cooperative module alone, with all the extra modules, bumps this up to like probably my top 5 or 10 games of all time. Like, I was already really high on Scythe, like hot on Scythe. And now that I can play it cooperative, and the cooperative mode is super fun, like...
Yeah, and it opens it up to so many more people because some people do not like a competitive game. They absolutely do not. And when it's cooperative, you're like, hey, let's play this game. It's cooperative. And then eventually they'll be like, yeah, this is great. Let's actually play this game.
So how the cooperative works is you get 10 different... So you randomize it, and then you have 10 objectives that you have to complete. So it might be like getting 16 resources, or getting a factory card, or, building 4 buildings on specific spots or stuff like that. And then we pretty much just deviated what we were going to do. So Kill was he was hearts. You had to be the hard
hearts,
guy.
buildings, and something else, I think.
And I was all about power. And then you were all
It was
about...
just a resource development.
Yeah, production. It was like a giant moving puzzle. And I like puzzly games, but this just felt like one of the most complex puzzly games I've ever played.
Yeah, so I think that it, unlike Pandemic or something where you're playing together but somebody is basically in control, they're like, no, that's not the best move. Here's the best. Like, everyone has their own thing going on. And, like, I had no idea what his little screen did. He knows what his top and bottoms are, and he knows, all the different things that he can do. And I really didn't know. All I could say was, hey, I would really like if somebody could make some wood this time.
So, let's do some more pros and let's get into spoilers, because that's the fun stuff. Let's talk about the fun stuff. Any of the pros that we have with it? I mean, I personally think this is great. I think this is a fantastic expansion. If you like Scythe, must own. Slap Bauer's best seal on it. Forgot to mention that. Slap Bauer's best seal on it. If you like Scythe, this is just a no-brainer.
I like it so much. If I had the money, I would buy it all.
Bingo.
Yeah.
I already bought most of it.
Yeah,
so
you already did.
I'll
Yeah.
buy this.
Top-notch components. No component issues whatsoever. I think it was all...
For sure.
Everything was banging. I really like how they did the character sheet. So you're going to have your own personal sheet that you're going to be keeping track of all your information from game to game to game. I like that an awful lot. What did you think about the choice to make the last game score matter the most on everything? Now, your accomplishments throughout the game are going to give you a lot of points, and that's actually how
We're
I
at
have one.
spoilers now?
No, not quite yet. Because that sheet is...
I guess that goes into mind that there's no catch-up, but I guess with the last game being the way it is, that's kind of the catch-up in a sense, where since previous one didn't account for you winning.
That's true, but at the same time, we didn't know that.
Yeah, it's true.
We did not.
That's why I think the second time through.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe we should have read the last, we never read the last part of the second part, like what we do at the end. Maybe if we read through those each time, before the game, we would know more.
Well, I think this isn't a spoiler, I don't think. You get the sheet, and it essentially is if you complete an entire column, so if you complete all 10 of the different things you need to complete, you're going to get $25 at the end of the game. And those are going to be points for helping you win. Also, if you are able to accomplish a task 5 times, so you fill in an entire column or an entire row, you're going to get $25. And this is not really spoilers. You get the sheet before you even start playing. Knowing what we know now, we would definitely more fine-tune that towards it. And I think that would impact the gameplay. And you mentioned you think it would extend the games as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think, yeah, that's interesting. Let's talk spoilers. Let's just talk spoilers. Let's rip this dress off and start spoiling.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell that means. All right, so
Spoilers.
All right, spoilers. Favorite part of the game, without a doubt. Favorite module, favorite thing, favorite whatever. Starting down there.
The Mad Tesla.
Mad Tesla.
Yeah,
I mean,
The drunken guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We didn't actually play with it, but it just sounded so awesome.
It did.
So
Well, I know we agreed that it would be a lot more. It would have been a lot more fun had you not had control of them.
So at a certain, and this is where we start talking about the story, and the story is really good up until this point because Tesla created the giant mechs, and he created the factory in the middle, which is really cool. And I was just with the palm of their hand there, Jamie. And then we have to find Tesla, and I found Tesla. I went out of my way, and I was like, I'm gonna find Tesla. And if you find Tesla, you get to use Tesla, and he is another character that you get to utilize. So it's like you start
super powered, especially with your effect.
Yeah.
He was, because he could also do the events. So I was like, event here, event here, event here. But he also counts as a mech, so he could pick stuff up. He's very powerful. So if you get Tesla that way, you get an extra character, which is awesome. But if you don't, he becomes just like a drunken sailor, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's super cool, because what he just does is he just stumbles around randomly, going 1 or 2 spaces every turn, and fighting people and kicking people off spots. And it sounds amazing.
Yeah,
now,
it does.
we kind of got a taste of it when you play the cooperative mode, but not the full drunken. We got he was
Yeah.
just stupid.
Tipsy.
But I definitely can. Next time I play Scythe, I want to play with
Yeah,
drunken,
in there. That's the thing. It's
drunken
like-
Tesla. I mean, what the hell else?
I guess my favorite thing was, and this is the one game that what I focused on was you unlock a faction by finding it's Tesla's daughter. I can't think of her name. Vesna. Because this was probably the 3rd or 4th mod game, and I unlocked that faction. I played as that faction the rest of the game. Though I will admit we played it incorrectly because if you look at her card, there's 2 empty spots on her mechs, and apparently you can change that every game to pretty much all the other mech.
We screwed the pooch on that.
So they have she has her own mech
and then
abilities.
So I spent at the end of each game you can spend 50 gold to buy an assembly mod or a mech mod. So I spent mine first to buy the mech mods to fill my 2 spots.
Yes.
Whereas then I only played the rest of the game with 2 assembly mods, which are extremely powerful. So
And
had he known that, I could have had 4.
You might have won. You might have won that.
Yeah, you could have. Yeah,
that was $100 wasted.
Yeah.
That was.
What did you think about the money system?
In what respect? There's
There's
a lot of money happening in all.
No, I mean buying the upgrades / buying the
yeah.
temporary upgrades. What'd you think about that?
I mean, I enjoyed it. I think here's the thing. I think Kill could have just focused on trying to get as much money as possible, in a game.
Mm-hmm.
He could be like, oh, I'm just gonna try and spread out really far and get really high on the hearts, and just got a lot of money. That could have been a strategy for a game,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know what hampered me was I was rusty since it was a long time since I played. So the first game I only ended up with 22 gold, and
That
then I was
brutal.
like, oh, I didn't know how much the stuff cost, and then so I was like, oh, well, I'm gonna get one of the perks to start with. So then I went down to 7 gold, and then at that point,
you had 49.
and then I had 49 when the first time when you could buy that stuff for 50. And it's just like, oh.
Yeah, I remember that. That's
So I think that's the first game really hurt me because it was kind of like a practice for me, remembering how everything works.
all right. So we're gonna go over module by module, talk about them, and give you our thoughts on them. Oh, there's the rules. So first module, talk about the 2 new factions. What did you think about the 2 new factions? The one you had, the Vesna faction.
Vesna. I think it's really powerful. I was glad that I pretty much spent the whole one game just trying to unlock it. Because you unlock it by gaining influence and searching through the tech deck, and I think I had to do it 5 times. Yeah.
Yes.
I think there's 8 cards in it, and I was pulling out 5 until I finally got it.
But you did have the hindrance of you could get a factory card. And you could probably get a factory card super quick with your mod.
Yeah.
But you only got to use it once.
Yeah,
So
but you start with 3.
Yes.
So that, I mean, And I guess it also kind of varies on which mechs you get, factory cards you start with too.
That was pretty cool. What about the other one? The metal one with the really stinking. Yeah, we can show
Those
you
are
now.
awesome.
Yeah, let's talk about
The
these
mechs are
mechs.
so cool.
Oh my gosh, they're
Look at
so
that.
cool.
They're enormous.
Yes. That faction is a really, really stinking awesome faction.
If you have the right makeup for it.
Really powerful in combat. I got that, and I had no metal anywhere.
Mm-mm.
And it was actually a hindrance.
Yeah,
to me.
that was your worst game.
Yeah.
And I should have not taken them, but it was just like, how do I
Yeah.
not take
I
them?
I want it.
So adding 2 new factions, I mean that in itself that's a fantastic expansion
Yeah.
right there. That's pretty much what that one expansion is. The
Yeah.
first expansion, it's just, hey, here's 2 new factions, knock yourself out. One that I really like, and I think it's an unsung hero, I think a little bit, is the one where you could randomize the objectives.
Oh,
The
okay.
10
Yeah, I think that would be something you'd use every time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
It's so much fun.
I think a lot of people complain, and that was one of the big complaints I remember when the game came out, was it would get stale. Each faction had a strategy, and this was the strategy go. It almost had a Puerto Rico-esque aspect where people were like, this is how you should play this strategy, this faction. This completely changes that. And some of these are pretty cool.
I mean, for that last game, I had all but the last one on 3 different ones. And then when it randomized, 2 of those weren't there. So I was like, oh shit. Like, I'm totally screwed here.
Yeah. Well, I'll say the randomization was my least favorite one was since I was Saxony, where it's just more of a combat-based faction, and then you guys chose peace over war. So that was just like, all right, well, this is going to be a pretty crappy game.
And then I drew combat for my bottom.
Yeah, you did.
It was like
Yeah.
military or
Well,
something.
I also don't like the fact that I had the same bottom for like 4 games in a row, and it wasn't a beneficial one to like my starting location.
I think this expansion really brings out how important those bottoms are.
Yeah.
Like I've always been like, whatever bottom I get, it's no big deal. And after playing this many times, like, that was the hardest decision you made in the whole game.
It was.
It took
took me the longest.
forever.
Well, Kill, you chose first, and you chose the one that
The-
was
the
like
move and make mechs.
moving mech. Yeah.
And you got 3 gold for the match.
And I mean, because that would have been awesome for mine, because I just
But
grabbed
then
all
also
the
for
metal.
metal, we
and then
all
I-
wanted that.
Yeah,
one.
that's
Yeah.
true. I mean, it really makes you pay attention to them.
Yeah, it does.
Right.
Because the one I had the most was the one where you just deploy a mech and you don't get nothing for it, and I could do mechs pretty fast.
One that I think would be really cool that we didn't utilize at all because we're all a bunch of you were a prude. Was the alliance tokens.
Oh yeah.
Those the more I think about the more I think that's such a really cool concept.
It is.
So essentially, you can give your faction's special ability to somebody else, and you trade it with each other. But at the same time, you're agreeing not to fight each other. There was also some money involved with it. I think it's something that I would play with on a routine basis.
Yeah, I can see that.
3 players who didn't shine.
Just for the record, I offer mine like to both of you guys multiple times.
Yeah, our factions. abilities were better.
that.
But that's one of those ones where I would just mix it in every game, and I think it'd be like, oh yeah, so you can trade with this. Oh, if you're behind and this guy's behind, boom, you got 2 factions going. And that's a cool catch-up mechanism as well for the regular game. Like, if you feel like you're getting crushed and somebody else is getting crushed, hey, now you can do this, and now I can do that, and we're both benefiting, and they're not getting an advantage out of it.
Here's the thing. Could we use those in subsequent games after that it was introduced?
No, I'm pretty
No, I
sure
think it was just that one.
Yeah.
I think those were a one-off, unless
I mean,
we screwed
as you're
up on
talking
it.
about catch-up mechanism, like...
Well, that's only
if you're
assuming that
playing
you guys
with
would
5
trade.
players and you're like,
Yeah.
hey, we're both doing terrible. Like, here you go.
We'll see. Once I got the Vesna faction, I'm sure you guys would have traded with me like no question.
No.
Here's 3 factory
Yeah,
cards.
3 factor.
Yeah,
I don't know.
but then you couldn't. I can only use them all once, but still.
So I think I have found my weakest module, though. Now that I think about it, it is the War and Peace boards. I don't think I'd ever really use those. The specific boards that you get based on whether or not we voted War and Peace on the influence. So one of them's just a little bit more war heavy. One of them's just a little bit.
There's no combat.
And I think I like the randomization better than that every single time.
Yeah.
But I
agree.
guess because I know some people don't like the conflict.
Yeah.
I guess I could see that one still being popular.
Or if somebody's like, oh yeah, I love to play Risk. You're like, oh yeah, let's do the combat one.
Let's talk about the rule booklet. That's something I probably should have mentioned in the pros. I feel like this is very well done.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Nothing was spoiled beforehand. I mean, I was reading it most of the time, hence the Tesla screw up.
Yeah.
But I felt like it's a well done rule booklet. I felt like the box insert was well done. We were very excited to open everything. It's very visually appealing.
Yeah. Well, I think half of us would motivate us to get the random modules done as quickly as could, just see what was in the box.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were the short games I was talking about. Was like,
hey, there's a box
there would
on the
be-
factory.
yeah, there would be a bunch of tokens out, and it's like, as soon as these tokens are gone, game over. And we'd be like, shit, yeah, let's go get all those tokens.
All right, so this is another one. I think the mods are something I'm also going to play with every time too. Maybe just hand out like 4 of them and say you can pick 2 of these every single game, because I think that really it just gives you different flavor each and every game, and I like that.
One, especially since like you can choose not to use them, and you still got mod. You know, like you got your mechs doing stuff, and the infrastructure mods. But you know, randomize the mech mods.
And another thing I just thought about, they speed up the game too, which I think for most people is going to be awesome.
Ooh, yeah.
Because how the mods work is say, for the ones that we had, which were really powerful, was you can get a mech out without paying the cost. You can enlist without paying the cost, and it speeds up the game drastically. I'd say 10 to 15 to 20%, just because you're able to get that mech out, you're able to get over there and get to the resources you need to, and start getting the factory cards. And
That's true. And several times, because I had that, I did stuff that I normally wouldn't do,
And that goes
because
back-
I'm like, oh yeah, because I can do this for free.
Yeah. Well, that goes back to my thing. You guys, I think, had 4 or 5, or 5 or 6.
I had 6.
Yeah, you had 6. You had 5, and
I
I
had
had
5
2.
at the end.
I had 2 because I wasted the other 2 on
Yeah,
mech
'cause
mods
you
to
would've
fill up my
had
spots.
4
I would have
or
4.
more.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah, we totally screwed you on that one.
Yeah.
Redo.
Redo.
so
That means I get to be Tesla again.
I would have been this. In the end, Scythe, Rise of Fenris, I think we're all giving it just glowing.
Yeah.
I mean, as an experience, I would absolutely play it again, and I really enjoyed playing it. As an expansion, like if it was just a la carte with no story at all, I absolutely would still recommend this and still give it a Bowers Best seal. That's just icing on the cake for me. Catapults this personally Scythe into my top 10 favorite games of all time. I'm not going to say that for you guys, but you'd recommend this.
Yeah. As far as the mods, everything, yes. As far as playing through the campaign, read the second part, the endings of each one before you play each.
I wonder if you're actually supposed to. I kind of like the surprise of it, though. So here's another question. Would you want to play it with 6 to 8 players?